The big political story of the day. They are political rivals in Bihar, but today Chief Minister Nitish Kumar and RJD leader Tejashwi Yadav came together for a common cause. And this common cause is caste census. A delegation of Nitish Kumar, Tejashwi Yadav and 9 other parties, including the BJP, met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and urged him to take an appropriate decision regarding conducting caste-based census across the country.
सर, आज आपके प्रधानमंत्री मोदी से मुलाकात हुई कास्ट सेंसस पे। पहले ये बताइए, क्यों आपको लगता है कि ये जरूरी मुद्दा है?
नहीं, ये हम लोगों का तो प्रस्ताव पहले से है और हम लोगों की राय प्रारंभ से। अगर जाति आधारित जनगणना हो जाएगी तो लोगों को आगे बढ़ाने की सुविधा मिलेगी। अभी जो भी फिगर उपलब्ध है वो कब का फिगर उपलब्ध है? अंग्रेज के जमाने का, 1931 का। तो अब उसके बाद आगे का फिगर आप नहीं देखिएगा। आज कितना साल, 90 साल बीत गए। अगर अभी नहीं देखिएगा एक बार तो पता कैसे चलेगा? और अब आखिर क्या काम है? सबको आगे बढ़ाना है, कोई पीछे नहीं रहे, सब एकजुट हों। सारा देश तो सब लोगों का है, तो सारे देश में जितने लोग हैं सबको आगे बढ़ाना है। तो इसलिए एक बार जान लीजिएगा कि कहाँ किसमें क्या कमी है, तो उसके लिए जाति आधारित जनगणना होनी चाहिए।
आप तो पूरे विपक्ष को एकजुट करते हुए दिख रहे हो, सरकार के साथ भी इस मुद्दे पे दिख रहे हैं। असल वजह क्या है?
जो नेशनल इंटरेस्ट का सवाल होगा, जब देश की जिसमें भलाई होगी, उस काम को लेकर के हम लोग सब लोगों को करना है। आप सब लोग जानते हैं कि 1931 में जो है लास्ट जनगणना हुई, जाति जनगणना, उसके बाद से 31 के बाद से नहीं हुआ। और हम लोगों के मांग पे हमने मुख्यमंत्री जी को बोला कि चलिए प्रधानमंत्री से मिलते हैं, और आज प्रधानमंत्री ने समय दिया, मिलकर के आ रहे हैं। उन्होंने हमारी बात को गंभीरता से सुना है और ये वादा किया है कि भाई हम इस मामले को देखते हैं कि इसमें क्या किया जा सकता है।
Prabhakar Kumar is joining me live. Prabhakar, it's a very tricky issue for the BJP in particular. At the center, Nityanand Rai, who is from the state of Bihar but Minister of State in the Home Affairs, has said on the floor of the House that as a policy decision, the center has said that they will not be going ahead with a caste-based census. But in the state, Nitish Kumar's posturing has meant that the entire BJP stands with the JDU. Politically speaking, how does Nitish Kumar benefit with this move?
Nitish Kumar would certainly is the man who is leading this crusade, and he will certainly be benefiting out of it. Because see, it's a political messaging. Nitish Kumar has clearly sent out a message, especially to those OBC, EBC chunk of the voters, which is the most sizable number, as we know, that he is batting for them. He is batting for their cause. Because if this caste census happens, and if it actually results into alteration of the reservation quota, then certainly they'll be benefited out of it. And that is exactly what this entire campaign is all about.
And now, do you see this as some kind of a comeback of Nitish Kumar? Because in the last few months, he has been relatively, he may be the chief minister, but his political relevance in the larger national politics had been reduced to a great degree.
See, Nitish Kumar is one politician who's always throwing up surprises. Yes. So he's one man whom you can't depend lying back. He would always come up with something which can actually make his allies feel uncomfortable, whether it's his statement on the inquiry into the spying case, or whether this particular issue which BJP was not very keen and happy taking this up. Remember when this entire crusade of Nitish Kumar happened regarding this caste census, when he started this campaign, BJP was completely tight-lipped about it. They were not uttering a word. And the BJP leaders off the record used to say that they would have to consult their top bosses, top leadership, to actually get their views on this first, because it's a very, very sensitive issue. BJP leaders realize this very well, that if anything, any one statement in this particular case goes wrong, it could actually dampen their poll prospects in the coming elections, especially in the states like Uttar Pradesh. So they are very particular about it, very careful about it. But Nitish Kumar actually cornered them. Nitish Kumar went on making statements on this. Nitish Kumar went to the extent of talking to the entire opposition. And then he shot a letter to the Prime Minister seeking appointment for the all-party delegation. Now, BJP was the only party which was non-committal to be part of this delegation which met the Prime Minister today. So BJP, as I see it, was left with no choice but to nominate one of the persons to be representative of the party, and they chose a person who happens to be a Dalit leader. So that was also a strategically chosen one. But Nitish Kumar certainly has put them in a tight spot, in a tight corner, and BJP was made to be was part of this delegation today. Now BJP has to, if this demand is made to the Prime Minister, he's the guy who's heading the BJP as a political party, so they have to deliver as well. I think, and what the experts over here feel, BJP would wait for the elections to be over. Only then they would take up this issue. Certainly not.
Or maybe they'll not take up this issue at all. That remains to be seen, because the amendment that has been passed in Parliament recently also gives the state a greater say to go ahead with it. Prabhakar, thank you so much for joining us. Let's listen in to other reactions that have come in.
स्पष्ट है, ये प्रथम बार ऐसा हुआ है नहीं, बहुत पहले भी होता रहा है बिहार में कि जब कभी नेशनल और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मुद्दा होता है तब पक्ष विपक्ष दोनों साथ है। इस बार भी भाजपा के प्रति सब लोग ऐसा कह रहे थे कि भाजपा नहीं चाहती है जातीय जनगणना, तो भाजपा का भी डेलीगेट है और एक डेलीगेशन में आया हुआ स्पष्ट रूप ने कहा कि वह जातीय जनगणना हो, इसमें किसी को कोई ये नहीं है, हम लोग सब साथ हैं। उसी प्रकार से हम लोगों ने भी कहा कि भाई शेड्यूल कास्ट शेड्यूल टाइप की जनसंख्या बढ़ी है, इसलिए महामहिम से हमने कहा कि भाई इस जातीय जनगणना को हर हालत में करवाइए।
कास्ट सेंसस होना चाहिए, ये हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी कह रही है। और सुनिए, और मोदी जी अपने आप को ओबीसी लीडर कहते हैं, तो उनको हम पार्लियामेंट में भी मैंने कहा था कि मोदी जी जब प्यार किया तो डरना क्या। आप जो है 50% का ये जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का है, आपको पार्लियामेंट को पावर है संविधान से, आप लॉ बनाइए और तोड़ जाइए 50% को, डरते क्यों हैं। आखिरी बात, ओबीसी का सब कैटेगराइजेशन होना जरूरी है।
And as some roads in the national capital region continue to be blocked by farmers, the Supreme Court pulled up the centre and the government of Uttar Pradesh and Haryana. The apex court urged the three parties here to find a solution while at the same time recognizing farmers' right to protest. The matter has been listed for hearing next month. So now the issue of farmers in fact sitting at several entry points into Delhi being taken up in the apex court. There has been several PILs that have been filed that the right to protest should not mean that the daily life of other commuters and others should suffer. Anusha Soni is joining me on the phone line. Anusha, was this a PIL that was filed?
It was a PIL, Maria, filed by a Noida resident. And he had said that the person had said that they had to commute for more hours. Their right to way and livelihood was getting affected, and this was a breach of fundamental right. The Supreme Court once again reiterated, like it has in multiple other PILs in the past that have been filed, that yes, they have a right to protest, but passage, way, roads, national highways should not be blocked. Once again, the Solicitor General has been instructed, and also the government of UP and Haryana, who earlier filed their affidavits before the court, that they must apprise the court if any solution can be found. There were multiple occasions on which the Delhi police, the UP government, Haryana government had come before the Supreme Court and said, could there be any orders coming in from the Supreme Court to remove the protesting farmers? The court only went on to say categorically, we're not stopping you from doing any duty. We don't need to tell you what you need to do. Going forward from here on the 20th of September, let's see if the Solicitor General has any kind of solution, quote unquote, that he can suggest the court about this entire problem, because not one, many other PILs are lined up before the Supreme Court.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Anusha. And Network 18 at Federal Bank's Sanjeevani campaign has been spreading awareness to vaccinate against COVID-19. But more importantly, it has also been mobilizing beneficiaries to get themselves vaccinated. To reduce their financial burden, especially during these hard times, Sanjeevani is transporting beneficiaries in buses from their villages to vaccination centers at no cost. So
It's early morning in Bheslai village. Word about Sanjeevani's vaccination drive against COVID-19 has spread fast. While the vaccines given by the government, the beneficiaries registered by Sanjeevani teams.
यहाँ पे संजीवनी की मुहिम चल रही है। मैंने टीका लगवाया। मैं खुश हूँ क्योंकि यहाँ पे तीसरी लहर भी आ सकती है, इसलिए सभी को टीका लगवाना चाहिए।
The Sanjeevani campaign, not just convincing, registering and mobilizing beneficiaries, but also transporting them from their village to the vaccination center in a bus. All of them also given a special card which will secure all their vaccination details.
मुझे यहाँ पर संजीवनी की तरफ से वो लेके आए हैं, गाड़ी में बैठाकर लेके आए हैं और मेरे भैया भी आए मेरे साथ में। हम दोनों भाई बहन आए हैं और बाकी जो हमारे घर के सदस्य थे उन्होंने लगवा लिया है। हम दोनों भाई बहन ही रह गए थे, इसलिए हम यहाँ पे लगवाने के लिए आए हैं।
Ferrying people to the vaccination center is crucial as it helps people save money they would otherwise have spent on transportation.
एक बस के माध्यम से कहीं दूर जाना पड़े तो उनके लिए बहुत एक इम्पॉसिबल सा एक टास्क हो जाता है। फिर उसमें ज़्यादातर लोग सोच लेते हैं कि ठीक है नहीं करा रहे।
संजीवनी टीम जो अपने पिछले 10 दिन से काम कर रही है, कम्युनिटी लेवल पे सपोर्ट कर रही है हर किसी को कि आप वैक्सीनेट करवा लीजिए, बेटर रहेगा फ्यूचर के लिए और अभी के लिए भी।
Are sanitizers harmful? Do vaccines modify your DNA? Can they infect you with COVID? Are these some of the questions on your mind? Well, now there is a space where all these queries can be answered. As part of Network 18 and Federal Bank's campaign, a WhatsApp helpline has been launched. All you have to do is WhatsApp on the number 7977773753 and you will promptly receive your answers, information which has been verified and cross-checked. So go ahead, WhatsApp your questions on COVID and get all the information that you need.
आपने टीका लगाया क्या?
टीका लगा, ओ जरा टीका लगा। जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा। टीका लगा, ओ जरा टीका लगा। जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा। टीका लगा, ओ जरा टीका लगा। ओ जरा टीका 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 टीका
लगाया क्या?
लगवा ले चुमन जरा सहले सहले तू सबसे ये कह ले है जनहित में जारी मिलती क्या डरना ओ निडर टीका लगा ओ जरा टीका लगा जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा ओ जरा टीका लगा ओ जरा टीका 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 टीका
लगाया क्या?
टीका लगा ओ जरा टीका लगा जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा।
And Durga Puja celebrations in Bengal will be affected for the second consecutive year due to the pandemic. The worst hit are the idol makers of Kumartuli. CNN's Aparna Bose gets us this report.
Durga Puja is the only time of the year when the entire state of West Bengal turns into a paradise, decked up in lights and colors. But due to COVID-19, the festival most likely will remain a low-key affair this year as well. Worst affected are the artisans of Kumartuli, a potter's hub in North Kolkata, whose business went downhill due to the pandemic.
গত বছর এই অল্প দিনের যে বিজনেসটা হয়েছিল আমাদের তার তুলনামূলকভাবে অর্থনৈতিক দিক থেকে আমি বলছি গত বছর ভালো ছিল। আইটেম দিয়ে তো একটা ঠাকুর তৈরি হয় না, বাঁশ, বেকারি, কাঠ, মাটি ইত্যাদি জিনিসগুলো সব ডবলের মতন দাম হয়ে গেছে। এই সময় আমি অর্ডার নিই না, আমার সব বুকিং হয়ে যায়। কিন্তু এইবার মানে অর্ডারের হার যেহেতু কম আছে।
While the financial losses have forced idol makers to downsize their number of labourers, migrant workers of Kumortuli have refused to return to work, considering further losses in their business.
এমন টাইমে আসবে যে টাইমে হয়তো দেখা গেল আমাদের তৈরি করবার সময় থাকবে না। গত বছর তুলনায় এখনো পর্যন্ত কম আছে। তারপর হ্যাঁ নিশ্চয়ই এই বছর যেহেতু পুজো সব জায়গাতেই হবে এটা ঘোষণা করেছে। সব লেবার তো এবছরে আসেনি, গত বছরও ছিল না, এবছরেও আসেনি করোনা করে। আর তারপরে ট্রেন ফ্রেন চলছে না, সবাই তো দূরে দূরে থাকে।
আমার সব মোটামুটি সব বাড়িরই, বাড়ির সাবিকে দুর্গা আমি করি। এবার আমার মোটামুটি অর্ডারগুলো আসছে, আর যে কাস্টমারগুলো আসছে সবাই বলছে কম দাম, এই করোনার জন্য, এই পরিস্থিতির জন্য। কিন্তু আমাদের তো সব জিনিসই কিনতে হচ্ছে, কোনো জিনিসেরই দাম কম নেই, অনেকটাই লোকসান যাচ্ছে। মানে আগে অন্তত একটা মনের জোর ছিল যে আমি এই ঠাকুরটায় এত দাম পাবো, মানে সেই অনুযায়ী ঠাকুরের দাম কমে গেছে।
Income of several families is involved around this particular festival season alone. In the pre-COVID times, about 50% of the work of Kumortuli would be usually done by now. But for the second consecutive year, everything is uncertain yet again.
While idol makers are bearing the brunt by making smaller idols and rejecting orders due to paucity of workers, the pujo committees have also slashed their budget by more than 90% from the usual time.
বছরের থেকেও 5 লাখ টাকা কমানো হয়েছে। মানে এইরকম একটা জায়গায় আমরা দাঁড়িয়ে আছি যে ওই সুন্দরবনেও যে পুজোয় আমরা করেছিলাম সেখানে তাদেরকে ওখানে সমস্ত মানুষকে জামা কাপড় দিয়েছিলাম ওই গ্রামের, কিন্তু এবছর হয়তো সেটা করতে পারবো না।
For lakhs of Bengalis, the pandemic has been a demon that has continued to defy happiness for 2 years in a row. But as Ma Durga would attest, health is above all. With Aparna Bose, Bureau Report, CNN News 18.